pain. It's something pretty much all of us deal with, and we're always looking for better ways to manage it. So, what if I told you that one of the most promising solutions isn't some brand new drug, but a natural compound you've probably never heard of? And the best part? It's backed by some seriously impressive science. Just think about that for a second. A pain reliever that works with your body's own natural systems. And in a head-to-head showdown, it actually comes out on top against a go-to painkiller like ibuprofen. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little too good to be true, but the evidence we're about to look at might just change your mind. So what is this stuff? Well, it's called palmitoylethanolamide, but let's just call it PEA, okay? It's a lot easier. Now, this isn't some strange chemical from a lab. It's a fatty acid amide that your own body makes to help control pain and cool down inflammation. You can think of it as part of your body's built-in repair crew. So we're not introducing something new, we're just giving our body more of something it already knows exactly how to use. Okay, so the big question is, does taking it as a supplement actually work? Let's dive into the evidence from some clinical trials and see what it says. We're going to start with a really tough one, migraines. And what makes this first study so interesting is that it focused on kids. Researchers took a group of children suffering from migraines and gave them a special form of PEA for 90 days to see what would happen. And the results? Honestly, they were pretty remarkable. After those 3 months, more than 63% of the kids, that's almost 2/3 of them, had cut their number of migraine attacks by more than half. I mean, just think about that. Fewer attacks means more time to just be a kid. But here's where it gets even more impressive. When you look at just the kids with the most intense, severe migraines, by the end of the study, that number was slashed by a staggering 80%. This wasn't a small change. For a lot of these families, this was completely life-changing. And that's not all. The study also found that when the kids did get a migraine, it was about 30% less severe. And maybe the biggest deal for parents, they needed almost 50% less rescue medication to get through an attack. It was just a win all around. Okay, so it shows a ton of promise for migraines. But what about something super common, something millions of people deal with every day, like joint pain? Well, let's take a look at the evidence for PEA and osteoarthritis. So, in a 2019 study on knee osteoarthritis, researchers split people into 3 groups. One got a placebo, one got 300 milligrams of PEA, and the last got 600 milligrams. As you can see, the placebo group didn't see much change. But the 300 mg group? A 40% drop in pain. And the 600 mg group saw their pain fall by almost 50%. It's a classic case of, the more they took, the better it worked. And it seems to get to work pretty fast, too. In a different study on just general joint pain, in only 2 weeks, the group taking PEA saw their pain scores drop 20% more than the folks taking the placebo. So this suggests it could be a quick option for those more general aches and pains. So PEA clearly works well on its own, but how does it stack up against a household name? All right, this is where things get really interesting. Let's look at a head-to-head trial that put PEA against ibuprofen. The challenge was to treat TMJ, which is a really painful jaw condition. One group got PEA, and the other got a pretty hefty dose of ibuprofen, 1,800 milligrams every single day for 2 weeks. It's worth pointing out that the ibuprofen dose was always double and sometimes triple what the PEA group was getting. In that first week, both groups felt about the same amount of pain relief. You can see their progress was almost identical. At this point, you'd probably call it a tie, right? Both seemed to be working. But then, week 2 happened. The pain relief for the ibuprofen group just hit a wall. It completely leveled off. But the PEA group, their pain just kept going down and down significantly, even though their dose was actually cut by a third in that second week. And here is the real kicker. When it came to actual function, like how wide they could open their mouths without pain, the difference was night and day. By the end of the 2 weeks, the PEA group could open their jaws nearly twice as much as the ibuprofen group. It wasn't just about feeling better, it was about actually getting function back. So let's pull all this together. After looking at migraines, knee pain, and that direct face-off with ibuprofen, what's the big picture here? Let's just quickly recap what these studies are telling us. What we've seen is that PEA has been shown to dramatically cut down how often and how severe migraines are in kids. It gives real dose-dependent relief for osteoarthritis. It works fast for general joint pain, And maybe most impressively, it went toe-to-toe with a high dose of ibuprofen and won, improving both pain and function for people with TMJ. Now, as powerful as all this is, you gotta remember, this is just a tiny snapshot of the research out there. The body of evidence on PEA is huge, and it's always growing, covering all sorts of other types of pain. What we've looked at today is really just the tip of the iceberg. And that kind of brings us to a final thought. When you see such strong evidence for a compound that our own bodies already make, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With so much focus on inventing new synthetic drugs, how many other incredibly effective remedies like PEA are already out there, just hiding in plain sight?